Introducing Ingham's Performance Conversation Framework. This short information video is to inform you about the framework and associated activities. Ingham's introduced its new strategy at the end of 2014. The strategy outlines what we need to achieve over the next 5 years. A key focus area in the strategy is to develop a high-performance culture. To help us achieve this, we are introducing a performance conversation framework into the business.
Why are performance conversations important?
At Ingham's, we want our people to be the best they can be, to enable us to continue to grow to be the market-leading poultry company in Australia and New Zealand. In 2017 financial year, we are introducing the Performance Conversation Framework to help us achieve that. Let's look at the framework.
The underlying principle of this framework is that leaders will be conducting regular coaching conversations with their staff during the year about their performance. The intent is to create clear expectations about what needs to be achieved and by when, and then discussing progress in a positive way on a regular basis. Let's talk about the process and timing of when things will be happening at Ingham's. Performance at Ingham's is about both what we achieve and how we achieve it. So when you're having performance conversation at Ingham's, you'll be having a conversation about what you do in terms of your day job and any KPIs or projects that you've been working on, as well as whether you're applying the Ingham's values in the workplace. So let's talk about the process and the timing of when things will be happening at Ingham's. Let's take a closer look at the Performance Conversation Framework at Ingham's. You'll notice that it has an inner wheel which outlines the steps of the process. The process has 4 sections: performance planning, coaching conversations, review performance, and reward performance. Performance planning is where clear targets or KPIs are set for the year and agreed with employees. It is also the time when development plans are agreed for the year ahead. Performance planning will occur every year in July. Let's look at the form that will be used for recording target KPIs and development plans at Ingham's. You will receive either a link to an online form or an Excel spreadsheet to enter your targets or KPIs for the year. You will need to complete this form by filling in a few areas. Section 1, which is highlighted, shows where to enter your targets or goals for the 2016-17 financial year. Consider how your targets relate to the strategic pillars and put the target in the appropriate section. Make sure your goals are SMART.
What is a SMART goal?
A SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. An example of a SMART goal is, I will complete 6 safety walks by 30 June 2017. You have to be able to measure it if you did or did not achieve it.
During the planning phase, you should also identify areas for development. Development can be for their current role or for future roles. Development plans should always identify ways to develop staff on the job, as well as any necessary training that will assist them close the gap between where they are now and where you would like them to be at the end of the year. Managers will conduct monthly or quarterly coaching conversations to check in on progress towards goals. These coaching conversations will also be time to reflect on development actions planned and agreed at the start of the year. Have they occurred? If yes, what was learnt? Has it been applied in the workplace, and what were the results? Review performance. This is an annual process of evaluating what you've achieved for the year. The annual performance review is scheduled to be conducted in June or July annually. Let's look at how you'd complete the Ingham's Performance Conversation form for your annual review. In the comments section highlighted on the form, this is where you include comments about how you performed against the specific targets or KPIs that were agreed at the start of the year. Did you achieve them? Put comments or examples to show your achievements in this area. If you included development actions, you should include comments about whether you achieved those actions and what was the result. For example, if you attended a training course in time management, did you use the skills that you learnt in the workplace? Next to the section titled Living the Ingham's Values, provide examples about how you demonstrate you were living the Ingham's values during the year. The next step is to give yourself an overall performance rating. There is a ratings guide that's been highlighted. Use this to determine your rating. Remember, performance equals what, your job role and your KPIs, and the how, living the Ingham's values. Your overall performance rating will need to consider all of these aspects. There are 4 performance ratings in the Performance Conversation Annual Review. Excellent or outstanding performance. To obtain this rating, you'll need to demonstrate that you've achieved all of your stretch targets, went above and beyond in your normal job role, and are a role model for the company values. So if you achieved your goals but not your stretch targets, this rating is probably not appropriate. Good performance means that you achieved your targets, did your job well, and consistently demonstrate the company values. Developing in role is for those new to a role and still requiring development. This acknowledges that some people may not have performed to the expected level, but this is due to being new to the role and not poor performance. This rating is not relevant for anyone who's been in their role longer than 6 months. If you have someone who's not performing as expected and they've been in the role longer than 6 months, you should rate them as below expected performance. However, people who've been in their role less than 6 months may be rated as good or outstanding if they've achieved the rating criteria relevant to those ratings. Below expected performance means the target performance was not achieved, or they did not do their job or did not demonstrate the company values. Here are some examples for you to try. What would you rate each of the people listed? Think about the ratings guide that was just presented. Complete the worksheet you've been given. Once you've given yourself an overall rating, provide some information about what you think you did well. Please make sure that you provide specific examples which illustrate your point. Also include commentary about what you need to improve or do differently. Then you need to submit the final form to your manager, who will review your comments and organise a time to meet with you for a performance review conversation. The performance review discussion will take the following format. The manager will provide an overview of how the conversation will go. Employee will present what was put in the performance review form. This will include how they went against their targets or goals in their day-to-day job and living the Ingham's values. A checklist has been provided, but let's go to an example and John will show you what this conversation might look like.
Thanks for your time today. Please sit down. I've organised for us to have this office for an hour without interruption, and I've turned off my phone. I'm going to ask you to go through the details you have on your performance conversation form and discuss what you did well and areas you could improve in relation to job and your KPIs and living the Ingham's values. If you have any evidence that might support what you were saying, it would be good for you to refer to them during that time. Then I'll outline my thoughts on performance for the year, and we'll outline from my perspective what you did well and areas you could improve in relation to job and your KPIs or targets and living the Ingham's values. At the end of the meeting, we'll do a wrap-up and discuss next steps.
The employee goes through their thoughts about the outcomes for the year and provides any relevant evidence to support their views. The ratings guide will provide reasons for rating yourself a certain way. You should provide evidence to support the reason you rated yourself in that way.
Thanks. Well, I think I've done a really good job on my KPIs. I completed all of my projects on time. I've got my project plans which show that I finished on time and budget. I also have some feedback from the people I work with as well as from some of the people I was managing on the project. They said I did a good job. The details are there for you to review in the emails I printed out for you. For that reason, I rated myself as good performance for my KPIs and role. In regard to the values, I rated myself.
Once the employee has provided their overview for their ratings, it's time for the manager to provide feedback and wrap up. Make sure you provide specific examples when providing feedback. Look at the performance guide for tips on preparing feedback.
Thanks for the discussion on your ratings. The next step in this process is that I will submit the rating we discussed here and that I'll be making recommendations regarding merit review. I'll discuss that with you once it's been approved by the Executive Committee.
Rewarding performance. Recognising and rewarding performance occurs from August to October in the year following the performance being rewarded. One of the ways we will be rewarding performance is via our merit review process. In 2016, all salaried employees will be included in the merit review process for Inghams. The merit review process is being implemented with the intent of providing targeted salary increases to employees who significantly contribute to Inghams' success. Market practice is to reward employees who deliver the greatest impact to an organisation, as opposed to providing a general merit increase. Our goal is to differentiate increases and provide meaningful increases to employees who demonstrate the strongest performance against individual objectives, possess critical skills, or present possible retention risks. There are a few criteria for eligibility in the 2016 merit review process at Inghams. Employees generally will not receive an increase if any of the following apply: a 2016 performance rating of below expected performance, if people were hired after the 30th of March 2016, or if people received a salary increase in FY16 that was in excess of 3%. Let's look at the detailed timetable of when things will be happening for 2016. Managers will receive a merit review spreadsheet on the 24th of June and will need to complete the spreadsheet by the 8th of July. The completed spreadsheet needs to be sent back to pc@inghams.com.au between the 11th and 15th of July. There will be a review by HR and XCOM will endorse the final outcomes prior to letters being compiled and sent to managers. Managers will be emailed letters with the outcomes of the 2016 review on the 12th of August. As part of the new performance conversation framework, managers are required to conduct a conversation with all of their staff when they provide these letters. The conversation will be required whether the employee is receiving an increase or not, as it is important for them to understand the link between performance and pay. Managers will also need to advise staff of the confidential nature of the outcomes of the review. We will provide a guide to assist you with these conversations. We will now demonstrate some conversations about different scenarios that might occur when you hand out your merit review letters to employees. In this scenario, Kate is speaking with Peter, who is an excellent or outstanding performer.
Hi Peter, thanks for coming. Take a seat. I wanted to give you this letter, which is the outcome of the 2016 merit review process. You've been given a salary increase of $3,200 and that's going to be effective from the 1st of September, and you'll receive that increase in the pay round following, which is the 15th of September. This increase is above the standard increase and you've received that because you did an outstanding job this year. You've achieved all of your goals as well as 2 stretch goals. You planned your work well and you produced higher quality results. The safety outcomes in your area of the business were excellent and you've role modelled safe practices and made a point of leading with safety in mind in your area of the business. So thank you for all your effort this year and keep up the good work. Given the targeted approach to our salary reviews, not all employees will be receiving an increase, so I'd ask you to keep your increase confidential and not share it with others. Again, congratulations on a great job.
Notice that Kate provided specific examples about some of the things that Peter did well in 2016. Be prepared when you have your conversations with some examples to share with your employee about what they did well in 2016. Also remind people of the confidentiality of the outcomes of the process. In this scenario, Chris provides feedback to Ashwin, who's not received a pay rise because he started after the cut-off date of 30th of May. You could have the same discussion if you'd already received a pay increase of more than 3% in 2016.
Hi Ashwin, thanks for coming in. Take a seat. I wanted to give you this letter, which is the outcome of the 2016 merit review process. You haven't been given a pay increase this year, as you started on 10th of April, which is after the cut-off date to be eligible. Although you didn't get an increase, I recognise that you're performing well. For example, you have already completed project XYZ on time and budget, which is really good work considering how new you are to the business. As we are now linking pay and performance, if you continue to perform well, then next year you may have an opportunity to receive an increase as part of the merit review process for 2017. Keep up the good work. We also need to advise you that you need to keep your outcome confidential and not share it with others.
Notice that Chris told Ashwin the outcomes of the merit review, but still took the opportunity to provide some specific examples about some of the things that had gone well since he had been here. Be prepared when you have the conversation with some specific examples to share with your employees about what they did well. In this scenario, Neil is speaking to Greg, who's not received a pay rise because he performed below what was expected in 2016.
Hi Matthew, thanks for coming in. Take a seat. I wanted to give you this letter, which is the outcome of the 2016 merit review process. You haven't been given a pay increase this year, and I wanted to explain the reasons for that. You had 4 projects that were expected to be delivered this year, and you only completed 2 of those projects on time. When you don't deliver outcomes by the deadline we agree, that impacts on other areas which are relying on you and cause additional delays which flow through to our customers. Some of the things you can do to improve your performance include ensuring you meet your deadlines for future projects, communicate early if you're having problems reaching them so that we can discuss strategies to try and address the issues. Also, I can inform those that are relying on us of any potential delays. I really want to see you succeed, so I've organised another meeting for us to discuss your development and to help you improve your performance outcomes. As we're now linking pay and performance, if you can improve your performance, then next year you may have the opportunity to receive an increase as part of the merit review process for 2017. We also need to advise you that you need to keep your outcome confidential and not share it with others.
Notice that Neil told Greg the outcome of the merit review process and provided specific examples which highlighted why Greg was performing below expected. He also outlined the impact of his performance on the business. Be prepared when you have these types of conversations with some specific examples to explain your decision. If the employee gets angry or starts to challenge your decision, acknowledge that they must be feeling frustrated. However, the decision has been reviewed and endorsed by the ExCom. Reiterate that you want them to be successful and you will make some time to meet with them and discuss ways to improve for 2017. An example of what you could say to diffuse someone who is angry or frustrated. You sound frustrated, and I appreciate this may not have been the outcome you were hoping for. I want you to be successful for 2017, so let's focus on what you can do to improve your performance. Take some time to think about this, and let's meet next week and discuss your ideas about what you can do to lift your performance and address the issues that I've spoken to you today. If you need any further information or have any questions, you can speak with your manager, or alternatively you can email pc@inghams.com.au, you can call 1800 789 796, or you can go to the intranet under Our People HR Performance Conversations. There you will find some manager guides, checklists, templates and forms, or you can register for one of the online Q&A sessions. I hope this has been useful.